Hi friends, welcome to our YouTube channel. Good morning to everyone. So this is our third video on WRD Assistant Engineer 2017 full paper solution. Right. So if you are not visited, if you are not watched our previous two classes, in the I button I have given the link of playlist, or you can visit that one. And recently we have uploaded both. And the remaining portion after fourth part 4 portion we will upload today only. Please keep watching our YouTube channel and be active. Right. So today's video we will discuss the all the remaining questions, that is from the question number 51 to 75, and these are our different social platforms you can join, that is Telegram channel Civil with Sudhir, and description is the link is in the description box, you can join. And this is our Facebook page KPSC Civil AEJ Study Point, you can join this group also on the Facebook. And this is our YouTube channel Civil with Sudhir. Make sure you have already click on the subscribe button and click on the bell icon to get all the latest notification from our YouTube channel. Let's begin with the today's first question, right? So first question, if the radius bearing of a line is north 45 degree east, then its whole circle bearing is. This question is from surveying. This question is from surveying, right? So first of all, understand there are two different methods for destination of the right, destination of bearings, we can say, right? So or systems. So we have two methods. One is WCB, whole circle bearing system, and one is quadrantal bearing system. In WCB, what we'll do, from 0 to 360 we will measure, that is from the north direction. But in quadrantal bearing we will measure from 0 to 90 degree. Either we have to measure from north or south. Right? These are the two important points. Let me tell you now. So what they are asking. So this is the whole circle bearing system, that is from the north direction. Just now only I have told, that is in the clockwise direction, right? So in quadrantal system, what they will do, measure from eastwards or westwards from the north or south pole, whichever is near, right? So these are now tabular column. In this question they are asked, they have given that is a quadrantal bearing, you have to convert it to whole circle bearing. So we have some formulas to remember, these four formulas, that is if it is 0 to 90 degree in WCB, that is in northeast, that is this is first quadrant, this is first quadrant, right? Second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. So if it is 90 to 180, that is 180 minus WCB you have to make. So if it is 180 to 270, WCB minus 180 degree, right? So if it is 270 degree to 360 degree, 360 minus WCB. Okay, so remember these formulas. If they are given in vice versa, you can calculate that one. Now in the given question, what they are given, north, right, north 45 degree east they are given. You can see this is north, this is east, so this is 45 degree. So it is in the first quadrant. In the first quadrant, no changes, only you have to remove the signs and you have to directly write the angle. So that is the 45 degree is the answer for the given question. 45 degree is the answer for the given question. Okay, next question. Keeping the instrument height 1.5 meter, length of staff 4 meter, the slope of the ground as in 1 in 10, the site on the down slope must be less than. So again this is survey question, right? Let me tell you. Now first of all, understand what they are telling. So this is the instrument height they have given is 1.5 meter. So sorry. So this is 1.5 meter height, and this is instrument, and this is the height of the instrument, and length of the staff is 4 meter. So they have given the length of the staff. And next, 1 in 10, right? 1 in 10 slope you can see here, right? Downwards, because they have given downward, so it will in the downward, right? So this is staff, this is staff, this is instrument, you know, and this is the staff height, and this is a horizontal distance. X is a horizontal distance we have to find out now, right? So by seeing the figure we can say tan theta is equal to ground slope, this one is equal to difference between the length of the staff and the height of instrument, right? You have to make two difference. One is difference between the length of the staff and height of the instrument divided by horizontal distance. Okay, So tan theta equals to 1 by 10 equals to 4 minus 1.5 divided by x. Okay, 1 minute. So tan theta is equal to ground slope is difference between the length of the staff and the height of the instrument divided by horizontal distance. This is the horizontal distance. Now tan theta is equal to 1 by 10 equals to 4. That is a total distance. This one is a 4 minus of the height of the instrument divided by the x, that is the horizontal distance, right? So now the height of the instrument is 1.5, length of the staff is 4 meter, ground slope is 1 by 10, this one 1 in 10, right? So 1 in 10, 10 meter horizontal and 1 meter vertical, we can say. So tan theta is equal to 2.5 x by 2.5 divided by x equal to 1 by 10. So the answer for this question is x is equal to 25 meter. So this distance is 25 meter. Okay, so this is the 25, answer is 25 meter, right? Next question, most total station, again this is survey question. Most total station instruments measure angles by means of dash of extremely precise digital bar codes attached on. So what is the use of total station? It is measures horizontal angle, right, vertical angle, as well as the distance from any given point, and it will give the what we can say it is used for multiple purpose. We can use for setting out of any building or setting out of perpendiculars or obliques, right? For all the work nowadays the total station are using, and it is very precise. For that purpose they are using, right? Now the total station is electronic optical instrument used for the surveying and building construction. So it is an electronic transit theodolite integrated with the electronic distance measurement EDM to measure both vertical and horizontal angles and the slope distance from the instrument to a particular point. So most total station instrument measure angle by electro-optical scanning. Means there is a point, right? So this is the instrument and there is a point. So this instrument have some rays. It will goes and touch with that point and return back to the instrument. That is the electro-optical scanning of extremely precise digital barcodes attached to the rotating glass cylinders or a disc within the instrument, right? So the answer for this question is electro-optical scanning is the answer, right? Next, for a mixed traffic condition, the rate of super elevation for horizontal highway. So this is the highway question. This is the question from highway. Curve of radius is 500 meter and the speed of 100 kilometer per hour is what? Let me tell you. So in question what they given? 1 minute. In question what they given? It is a mixed traffic, different vehicle move at different speed, right? So the practical condition, IRC, Indian Road Congress, recommends that super elevation should be provided to fully counteract the centrifugal force up to due to 75% design speed by neglecting the lateral friction. They are neglecting the lateral friction and taking only 75% of design speed, right? If for example if it is 100 kilometer per hour is the speed, you have to take 75% of this, right? So this is the formula for super elevation. E plus F is equal to V square by GR, where F is 0, G is 9.81 meter per second square, V in meter per second. If they are given in kilometer per hour, then you have to convert it to meter per second. So V is in 5 by 8 is equal to V into meter per second, 0.75 into V square divided by G into R. So E is equal to V square divided by 225 R, where a V is a kilometer, right? Kilometer per hour. R is in meter. Now in the given question what they have given, V is 100 kilometer per hour, R is 500 meter, E is equal to 100 square divided by 225 into 500. So the E answer is 0.0889, right? 0.08889 is the answer for the given question. I think it is very simple because they have given direct question. This is direct question. Next question. The ratio of horizontal effective stress, right, to H to the vertical effective stress right? Stress V, right? Tau V is termed as what? It is always remember. So this question is related to, let me write here. This question is geotechnical engineering, geotech, geotech. So this question asks on the topic retaining wall question. So let me tell you the what is the behind of this question is, it is a ratio of horizontal effective stress to vertical effective stress is termed as what? Coefficient of earth pressure. And the first one, what do you mean by active earth pressure, passive earth pressure, and coefficient of earth pressure? All the conditions or ratio is same, only it depends upon the retaining wall condition. Let me tell you, active earth pressure coefficient is nothing but the ratio of horizontal effective stress to vertical effective stress when the retaining wall moves away means it will due to some external force or anything, it will move from one position to another position, that we take as an active earth pressure. Passive earth pressure is nothing but ratio of horizontal effective stress to the vertical effective stress when a retaining wall is forced against a soil mass. Due to the soil mass, it is what? It is forced to move. Then we can say that is a passive. Coefficient of earth pressure at rest means what? At rest means the ratio of horizontal effective stress to vertical effective stress when retaining wall does not move at all. Three conditions, right? Active, passive, coefficient. Active is due to any external pressure, passive earth pressure coefficient is due to soil pressure, and coefficient of earth pressure at rest means no any external pressure. So the maximum load per unit area which the soil can bear with any displacement or settlement is defined as safe bearing capacity. You know all this one. Friction, you know, right? So the answer for this question is coefficient of lateral earth pressure. Okay. Next question. Question number 56. Which one of the following is a point in time when certain conditions have been fulfilled, such as start or completion of an one or more activity? Right. So this is again what? Project management, PM, project management question. What they are asking, they will mention what? They will mention start or completion of one or more activities. Let me tell you what you mean by activity. Activity is an actual work to be done in a project, right? Actual work done, for example, foundation work, that is an activity. It indicates what? Time and resource by the arrows. For example, I will draw here, right? This is like this. So this is the activity, right? See, this only arrow mark we can say that you can write here this foundation work. It indicates time and resource from where you are taking, right? Like this. Network means the graphical representation of activities is called network. To represent all the work, all the activity, right? All the work that is related in our project, that is shown on a small network diagram. So that we can call it as an network diagram, right? So this deals with the events and activities and considered both cost and time, right? Network differentiates the relationship between the different activities by the means of arrows in logical sequence, right? So event, right? Event means, let me draw here so that you can understand. There are two, right? So two different let me show one more time so that you can understand. Okay, I will draw one diagram so that you can understand very easily. Okay, for example, so this is a network diagram, right? So for example, this is a network diagram. So in event means each activity is placed within two circles. These two circles are nodes known as event. A node, right? Node, we can say node, right? 1, 2 and 3. So this is a what we can say from 2 to 3, it is an event. So denoted by the nodal points mark as a start and completion of an activity. So there is an starting point and end point of the particular event. So that we call it as an event. Activity is done on actual work to be in a project, right? This is a what? Network. This is, we can say this is a network diagram. Okay, right? So the answer for this question is what? That is what? An event. An event. Which of the following does have some limitation when applied to detail engineering design work during early stages of project? Again, this is a project management question. Always remember we have two different techniques. One is CPM, one is and PERT. Right? We have two techniques, CPM and PERT. So this is critical path method and this is project evaluation review technique. Right? So in a PERT analysis, what do you mean by dummy activity? An activity which is used as an, right? Actually, this is not required, right? Because as per option, I have given the explanation, but so actually this is an dummy activity which is used as a maintain the predefined precedence relationship only during the construction of the project network. Estimate is an calculating the fair value of anything, right? So a project or anything, that is an estimate. So PERT is preferred as when there is some certainties in methodology, availability of the material, and the final answer is not clearly known. In the research work it is used. Always remember, in research work PERT analysis is used because research will be done after accumulating lot of material resources, and the end results we don't know, right? So in CPM it is applied when things are almost certain, like a construction project, right? So CPM is applied for the construction project. Once the project has been finalized, it is little doubt of men, material and equipment required, and then the PERT is used at the initial stages, right? In construction project PERT is used. After that we have to use the CPM. So CPM has a limitation in the early stages of the project. So this is the answer for the given question. Next question. A portion of embankment having uniform up gradient 1 in 500, circular with radius, right? Circular with radius 1000 meter of center line. It subtends 180 degree at the center. If the height of the bank is 1 meter at the lower end and side slope is 2:1, the earthwork involved is earthwork involved. This is the estimating question. Estimating and costing. Estimating question, right? Let me tell you. So total length of the curve. So actually they have given like this because uniform upward gain 500 meter, right? 1 in 500 circular they have given, right? Circular half this one, right? This is the half. So total length of the curve 100 into pi because the circular. Initial height is 1.5 meter, assuming the triangular shape. This one. Why we are assuming triangular shape? Because embankment as not embankment as the shape of embankment not data expect the side slope is 2:1. That is two vertical, one horizontal is given. Let me now first point. First we have to calculate the area of this triangle. What is the area of this triangle? That is the half into base into height, right? So base is 1 and height is also 1, so 0.5 meter square. So what is the middle height, right? So middle height, this one is 0.5 into, for example, this is like this. This is initial height. So this is initial area and this is middle area and this is final area, right? In the cross section I am showing you. So the middle height is what? 0.5 into 100 pi divided by 500 plus 1, that is pi plus 1 meter. So the area of triangle, that is delta 2, we can say 0.5 into pi plus 1 whole square, this portion, right? So that is 8.576 meter square. So the final height, what is the final height? That is we have to say 2 pi plus 1 meter. Now the area of the triangle, see this one A1, A2, we can say A3. So for all the length, right, we are taking. So 0.5 to 2 pi plus 1 square, that is the 26.522 meter square. Now using the Simpson's 1/3 formula, right, using the Simpson's 1/3 formula, d by 3 A1 plus AN 4 into A2 plus A4 A6, right? 2 times of A3, A5, A7. So when you put all these in values in this one, you will get 32,109.17 meter cube. So most suitable answer is what? That is a 27,500 meter cube, right? 27,000 this one, because into 1000 they are multiplying, so the answer is 27.5, right? Next question. Question number 59. Following results are obtained from a particle size analysis. Geotech question. Geotechnical. Coefficient Cu, uniformity coefficient that is Cu is 8, Cc coefficient of curvature 2.8, percentage of soil passing through 75 micron ISU is 10%, percentage of soil passing through 4.75 mm ISU is 70%. If liquid limit and plastic limit for the soil are 38% and 34.2% respectively, the soil can be classified as, right? How you have to identify first? First of all, understand what they're asking. They have given some data, that is they have conducted in the laboratory. They have got some results. Now they are asking to classify this soil, right? So as the data given of soil passing through 75 micron 4.75 ISU, we go for the classification of coarse grained soil, because they have given 75 and 4.75. So what is the classification of coarse grain? Particle size, gradation characteristics, that is Cu and Cc, that is given in the question. Percentage fineness, that is percentage fraction passing through 75 micron Cu. So the coarse grain soils are those having 50% or more retaining on 75 micron. If it is 50% more are retained on that one, we can say that is on the 75 micron, that we can call it as coarse grain. If coarse grain soils are designated as a gravel, if 50% or more the coarse fraction retained on the 4.75 mm 4.75 mm ISU. So now in the given question, Cu coefficient of uniformity 8 and coefficient of contraction coefficient of curvature 2.8. So the percentage of soil passing through 75 micron Cu is 10%, and percentage of passing through 4.75 is 70%, and this is liquid limit and this is plastic limit. Now percentage of fineness is equal to 10%. Fineness is between 5 to 12%. So soil is retained on what? 75 micron Cu. So 100 minus 10 equals to 90%. More than 50%, we can say that is a coarse grain. Simple. So if it is 4.75, right, it should be less than 50%. So we can say that is in sand. So for well graded sand, Cu should be more than 6 and Cc should be 1 to 3. Cc should be 1 to 3, right? So by seeing this result, we can say sand is well graded. This is SW. The sand is well graded. Now well graded, W is well graded, S is sand. So plasticity index is what? IP is equal to liquid limit minus plastic limit. So that is 3.8%. So IP of A, right, 0.73 into liquid limit minus 20. So that is the 13.4%. So determine whether the sand is clay or silt. Now we have to find whether the sand is clay or silt, right? So the IP is less than IPA, sand is silt. IP is more than IPA, sand is clay. Now in the question we got IP is less than IPA, so it is silty soil. So soil is what? That is well graded and sand containing silt as fine. So we have to take SW and SM. In theory classes I will cover all those things, don't worry, right? So they have question in this manner. So this is like an indirect question, not direct question, right? So this is indirect question. You have to remember, if they given question, same question in the WRD 2020, make sure you have solved this problem with ease, because I have made for all of you. Okay, so the answer for this question is what? SW and SM. SW and SM, how it one I have already explained it, right? Next question. Bentonite clay is an example of what? Bentonite clay is what? That is an example of Montmorillonite. It is a very simple question. Again, it is geotech. Geotech question. Geotech. So bentonite clay shows us swelling and shrinkage characteristics due to the moisture content variation due to the presence of Montmorillonite mineral, right? Bentonite clay is also called as Montmorillonite clay. Bentonite we always say that is another name, Montmorillonite clay. So black cotton soil is also consist of excess of montmorillonite mineral. So hence it is also shown expansion when water is added, right? So this is a simple answer. Okay, next question. The ratio of unconfined compressive strength of an undisturbed sample of soil, right? They are taking undisturbed sample of soil to that of remolded sample. So directly we can say this is an sensitivity. So this is an sensitivity. By seeing the questions only you can answer. So this is again geotech question. Geotech is very important. Please go through this. Still you have 2 days. Please go through the geotech questions. So sensitivity is nothing but undisturbed soil divided by remolded sample. So defined as in what? Undisturbed remolded strength, and varies from the 1 for heavily over consolidated clays to the value for the 100 for the so-called extra sensitive or quick clays. Plasticity is the ability of soil material to change shape but not volume continuously under the influence of constant pressure, and to retain the impressed shape when the pressure is removed, right? So the answer for this question is sensitivity. Next, again geotech question. ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೆದರಬೇಡಿ ಆಯ್ತಾ. ಕ್ವಶನ್ಗೆ ಹೆದರ್ಸ್ಬೇಕು, ನೀವು ಆ ಥರ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು don't fear after seeing the question. You have that guts. Question will be very amazing. How I given the difficult question, but this guy has solved very easily, right? So you have to like this mindset. So keep good mindset in the exams also. So 50 gram of oven dried soil of five sizes shown in the table. So this is a table. So hydrometer analysis is 1000 cc of suspension is prepared and filled up in a jar to up to 30 centimeter height. If specific gravity of the soil solid is 2.7, viscosity of the soil water suspension is 1 into 10 raised to power minus 6 kilonewton second per meter square. The time required for the particle to settle to the bottom of the jar. So they have given what? They have given again the practical condition that they have conducted the some lab. They have conducted the experiment. So they have done hydrometer analysis. So 1000 cc. Let me tell you one by one we will discuss. So the what is the given height of the jar is 30 centimeter. By seeing the Stokes law, using the Stokes law, we can say gamma w into d square, gamma w into d square into g minus 1 whole divided by 18 into mu. Right? So gamma w is unit weight and d is the diameter of the particle, g is the specific gravity, and mu is the viscosity of the fluid. Now by seeing the question, what they are telling that for particles to settle down to the bottom of the jar. So the lighter particles from the group of the particles settle at the bottom. That means every particle settle at the bottom. ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರು ಸೆಟಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. So for the calculation purpose we will take the minimum one, right? Let me tell you now. So here the diameter is 0.004 mm is taken for the group. Now time required to settling down the particle is height of the water level in the jar, right? This is the jar height, right? Height of the jar divided by settling velocity, how fast it will settle at the bottom. So this is the height. What is the height and in how much time or how fast they will settle? So that we will divide and we will get the what it is in the seconds, and we have to convert to the hours. So 5 hour 37 minutes. Sorry friends, 5 hour 37 minutes is the answer. See, by seeing the question you understood that okay, this question is having very so much of calculation. No, if you understand the concept, it is in the single step you will get the answer. By seeing tabular column also, so many students will fear, oh, tabular column game we have to do all the calculation for all this. Don't worry for all that. If you understand the concept, you need not to worry about this. Okay, so the answer for this question is 5 hour 37 minutes. Next question. Why are bricks soaked in water before using in brick? Simple, to prevent the depletion of moisture from the water, right? So for example, if it is in brick, right, if you not soak anything and it is fully dried, if you applied the mortar on this one, for example this is the brick, right? So this is the brick, right? If you applied mortar, what is mortar? Mortar is an mixture of cement and sand with required quantity of water. If you applied here, what will happen? This brick is dry. Brick is dry, right? So the dry portion, if you applied the mortar, and the presence of moisture in the cement mortar will absorb by the brick, and there is a water deficiency in the cement mortar. So that's why you have to make brick in soak before using. So it prevents the suction of the water from the wet mortar, as otherwise mortar is likely to dry out as soon as the crumble before attaining strength. Proper adhesion of the brick will not be possible if the bricks are too wet. It should not be too wet also. Okay. Next question. So this is the question, building material and construction, BMC. Next question. One of the following industry is not necessary to prepare the environmental impact assessment report to get clearance from the Ministry of Environmental Forest. See, for this question, understand what they are asking. Environmental impact assessment means any project you are doing on the earth or on the India or anywhere, right? You required the clearance from the environmental department or forest department. Why? Is there any effect of that project on our global or our earth or soil or water? That you have to understand. So that you have to take the authority and you have to take the permission from the government. So in thermal project also EI is required, for nuclear project also it is required, for hydro project also it is required. Only industry involving investment less than 5 crore is required to, not required to take, right? Any type of environmental impact assessment report is not required. Okay, so this is about EIA, process of study which predicts the effect of proposed industrial infrastructure on the environment, right? So it prevents the proposed activity project from the being approved without the proper oversight or taking adverse consequences into the account. So as per EIA 1994, industry involves less than 50 crore investment is not necessary to get the clearance from the EIA. So this is actually should be 50, right? Okay, so the answer, this is the environmental question. Environmental not in the depth that is technical, it is the environmental in general sense. Next question. Power transmitted by the shaft in watt is given by the expression. Always remember, power transmitted by the shaft is given by 2 pi nt by 60. 2 pi nt by 60. We know the power generated in the shaft due to the torque is given by what? Torque into angular velocity. What is mean by torque? For example, this is a steel rod, right? And in this one portion or one side it is fixed, and you are twisting this one. You are twisting like this. You are twisting like this, right? This is we can say that is an torque, and torque into angular velocity we will get the watt. So W is equal to 2 pi n by 60. So n is the number of rotations. So 2 pi n by 2 pi nt by 60. Okay, n is the number of rotation, t is a torque, right? So this is the strength of material question. Strength of material question, very simple question, you have to understand. Next, ISO 14012 provides guidance on what? So it is guidance on what? Let me tell you. ISO 140 1992 providing guidelines for environmental auditing or qualification criteria for environmental auditors. So IS 14011 is provides the guidelines for the auditing environmental management system. 14,000 provides guidelines for the principal system and supporting techniques. 14013 provides guidelines on the management of environmental audit programs. So this is very important. Again, they have asked on the question. This is environmental in the general sense. In the general manner they have asked, but you have to remember. So now what is the answer? 14012 is provide guidelines for the environmental auditing, right? Qualification not management or EA, general principle of environmental auditing, EA we can say. Management system is different, right? Management system is different, and this one. So the answer for this question is general principle of environmental auditing. Next question. Euler's crippling load formula gives buckling load. This is again strength of material. Column, that is the ultimate load a column can take mathematically. Euler's formula can be expressed as. So what is the Euler's? See, in Euler's formula we have different conditions. We have 4 to 5 conditions. One end is fixed, on other end is free, one end is hinged, other end is fixed, one end is hinged, other end is also hinged, right? So like this we have a different conditions, but seeing the question they have not given any condition. They are asking the general formula. So general formula is pi square ei by L square, right? Pi square ei by L square is the Euler's formula, where P is a buckling load, E is a modulus of elasticity, I is the moment of inertia of the column section, L is the equivalent length divided by effective length of the column, right? So Euler's crippling formula is this one. Remember this one, right? Okay, right. Next question. And for a discharge Q, the specific speed of the pump is ns. Half discharge with the same load, the specific speed will be. This is the FM question, right? FM, or we can say hydraulics. So this is what they are asking, specific speed, right? So half discharge with the same head, the specific speed will be ns into root 2, right? Ns into root 2. Okay, ns into root 2 is the answer for this question. Next, temporary hardness in water is caused by environmental question. Environmental. So temporary hardness, let me tell you, temporary hardness in water is caused by the presence of carbonate and bicarbonate of calcium and magnesium. Temporary hardness in water is caused by what? That is a calcium and magnesium. Carbonate and bicarbonate of calcium and magnesium. So we have two type of hardness, that is temporary and permanent, right? So it is all about the disinfection, or we can say treatment of water, right? So in disinfection we will use the alum powder or chlorine powder, right? So that is the important points you have to remember. Okay, next question. If delta, right, again this is a survey question. If delta is the angle of deflection of a simple curve of radius r, then the length of the curve is pi r delta by 180 degree. This is a simple question with a simple answer. You have to remember. See, this type of question, don't do anything mistake, because you will lose the marks if you do the mistake in the simple questions also. Now length of the curve, you know, 2 pi r by 360, that is the length of the curve, into delta, pi r 180 into delta. So r is a radius, you know, d is a deflection, l is the length of the curve. It can be concluded from the above expression that length of curve is directly proportional to the radius of the curve. Length of the curve. See, this is the length of the curve, right, and proportional to the radius of the curve. This is the radius of the curve as well as the deflection angle of the curve. Okay, next question. Dash standard provides tool for program to quantify, monitor and verify greenhouse gas emission. Environmental question. Again environmental. Let me tell you. IS 14024 2018 established the principle and procedure for developing type 1 environmental labeling programs, including the selection, product categories, product environmental criteria, and product function characteristics, and of the accessing for the demonstrating compliance. 140/2001 environmental management, right? This provides all those things, and this one 14064 1 and 2006 specifies principle and requirement at the organizational level for the quantification and reporting of greenhouse gas and emissions and removals, right? So emissions and removals. ISO 14060 addresses the carbon footprint aspects. So 14064 will give the what? Greenhouse gas emissions, and 14060 what? Carbon footprint. So these are important. So these codes are very important, please remember, right? There may be a chances of they may ask the question on like this, these remaining options. Okay, consider the following statement. The intersection of the first and the last ray in funicular diagram is on the line of the action of the resultant. This is a strength of material question. Intersection of the first and last ray in polar diagram gives the magnitude of the resultant. So which of the above statement is correct? Select the code for the correct answer from the given they are asking. Right? So let me tell you, so what they are telling, and first of all understand what they are telling. So funicular polygon is a shape taken by the simply supported string when subjected to loads. So it takes the shape of the bending moment diagram. You can see here. For an imaginary simply supported beam subjected to the same loads. For example, you can see. So this is a simply supported beam, right? And the load is applied PQR. So bending moment diagram will be appear like this, and the funicular polygon is like this, right? So like this. Now funicular polygon is a shape taken by simply supported string when subjected to the loads. Force diagram. So what do you mean by force diagram? It is a graphical representation of force vector drawn on the same scale, right? For P represented in the section AB as AB, similarly QR as BC and CD. The resultant force is represented by, you can see there is a beam here. This is a beam A, B, C, D, P, Q, R. So this is A, B, C, D. What they are telling? P represented in the section AB as AB, AB as AB, right? This portion, and similarly Q, R as BC, CD, right? This one. So it is represented by like this. So this is a force diagram. So first of all understand what I am telling. Funicular polygon and force diagram. Clear? Now, so the what do you mean by polar diagram? Is a force diagram with a pole is called polar diagram. Means at one point it is 0 and at other point it is maximum. So that we call it as a polar diagram. So the funicular polygon is similar to the bending moment diagram. You can see this diagram is same as a bending moment diagram. So the resultant force is not the intersection of the ray from the AB and DC. Resultant force is not intersection of the ray from the what? AB and DC. AB and DC. Right? So the intersection of the first and last rays in the polar diagram doesn't give the ray AD. So doesn't give the ray A to D. You can see now. So this is the beam PQR ABCD, right? And this is the funicular polygon, and P, when you extend this P like this, right? And when you extend this D point, it will intersect at here. So that is the intersection, right? And another point we are drawing here like this, that is A and D. Okay, A and D. This is the first force ray and this is the second last force ray. So this is the what? Resultant. This is resultant force direction. Now from the force diagram we got to know that resultant ray AD direction. AD direction. From the funicular polygon diagram we can say the intersection of the first force P and the last ray force R in the funicular diagram is on the line of action of the resultant R. Now after seeing all this, right, now you have to read these options. Intersection of the first and last ray in the funicular diagram is on the line of the action of the resultant. Yes, this one is now correct. Intersection of the first and last ray in the polar diagram gives the magnitude of the resultant. No, this is totally wrong, right? You can see, right? Only the statement is one is correct, because intersection first and last ray polar diagram gives the magnitude. It is not giving any polar diagram. Okay, right? So the answer for this question is this one, A only. Okay, next. If V is the design speed in kilometer per hour, R is the radius meter of curve of hill road, super elevation is given by which of the following? Again this is highway question. Highway question. So this question we can say super elevation means what? For example, you are moving on a curve, right? So this is your what? Vehicle, right? So this is curve, right? Your vehicle is moving in this direction, in forward direction, not in, don't take this here, right? This is a road, right? So it is an inward transverse slope provided throughout the length of the horizontal curve to contract the centrifugal force which tends to pull the outer edge or inner edge will be rise with respect to, so this is the outer edge and this is the inner edge consider. So it is what? upward compared to outer edge. So vehicle in outward direction, and therefore to check the tendency of the vehicle to overturn or skid. So 220 v square by 225 r is a formula for super elevation. Okay, v square by 225 r. Now, so have you understood what is super elevation, all those things? Okay. Next, volumetric strain is defined as which of the following? Strength of material question. That is a change in volume by original volume. Change in volume by original volume, we can say that is a volumetric strain. That is, the strain is change in dimension by original dimension. So there are three types of strain: volumetric strain, longitudinal strain, and shear strain. So when there is a stress applied on the object from all the sides or same sides, then there will be change in volume. And if its original volume is V, then according to the definition of strain volumetric, change in volume by original volume. Okay, right? Next question, last question of this class. Maximum deflection for a cantilever of length L carrying load W at its free end, right? So what they are telling, this is a maximum deflection for a cantilever L load at free end. Let me tell you, you can see the sketches, note, take the screenshot, anything, or draw yourself. So this is the cantilever with movement, then the delta deflection is ml square by 2I. This is the cantilever with the point load. So this is a given question, WLQ by 3EI, right? So WLQ by 3EI, and WLQ by 3EI is the answer. So this is again strength of material question. Now if they given with the UDL with the cantilever beam, WL raised to 4 divided by 8EI, UVL, WL raised to 4 divided by 30EI, right? So these are the remaining different cases, right? So the answer for this question is WLQ by 3EI. I would say thank you one and all for watching this video, because you all are supporting me in very good manner. I would say very thankful to all of you, because I have started from the scratch. You all guys have helped me, so I will do more and more videos like this in the future also. Please click on the subscribe button and click on the bell icon also, and make a one like for this video. Thank you and all, thanks for watching this video.